morning, Flosstube. My name is Dawn Marie, and this is my channel, DM's Crafty Vortex. This is my channel mostly about cross stitch and sometimes some other crafts, depending on what I'm working on throughout the weeks. I did work on some knitting, but I did leave it at work, so that'll be something I'll show next time, which makes this Flosstube all about the cross stitch. It's been about a month since my last Flosstube. I think I said last time I was going to try to do this once a month. I'm not quite sure what the date was on my last one, but it was sometime in January. So I would like to thank everybody who's coming back and waited the month to see me again. I really appreciate that. And if you're new, I appreciate you being here. Hopefully you'll see something you enjoy. Last time I looked, I'm about 5 subscriptions away from being at 1,000 subscriptions. So I am almost out of the under 1,000 subs club. So if you see what you like and you want to continue on seeing my projects, I'd really appreciate you hitting that subscription button below and maybe hitting the bell so you'll be notified the next time I release another update, which will be about another month from now. Life updates, not much really happens around here. It's pretty much day to day the same thing, although my jazz class that I'm taking with my daughter, we have officially started working on the recital dance. And it has been confirmed what we are wearing to the recital. So I have now realized that I really need to get my butt in gear and lose a few pounds so I can fit into the outfit they have picked out for us. Luckily, I have a very supportive husband who now I get to drag to the gym 3 times a week with me. As a matter of fact, we will be going today, a little later after this Flosstube, get my gym clothes on and go hit the weights. Other than that, don't know really what else has been going on. Just, work and that. I did this morning though, met with my stitchy group. We meet every other Saturday at a local Panera. So I got to spend some time there. That was a lot of fun. With lockdown being over, it's nice to actually meet with people. So again, about every other Saturday, a group of us get together in the area, and sometimes it's just 3 and 4 of us. Sometimes there's 8 or 9 of us, but it's always a lot of fun. And now I'm here ready to record. I don't remember if I set the date or not. Today is Saturday, February 19th, I think. Other than that, let's get into the stitching. The last time I recorded, I said I hadn't touched any of my WIPGO numbers and that I probably wouldn't get into them until February. And then I immediately shut off my Flosstube, and because I brought it up, I started thinking about it, and the very next thing I worked on was one of my WIPGO projects. And I have now finished all 4 WIPGO goals, so I'm completely up to date until the new numbers get called. Now, if you don't know what WIPGO is, it's created by Jessie Marie Does Stuff. That's her Flosstube channel. And I think it's Jessie Does Stuff on Instagram. And it's kind of like a bingo board. So you set up your board based on goals you want to accomplish. And then she calls 2 numbers every month. And those 2 things that get called are what you want to get done for the month. So all my WIPGO goals are done. And again, if you want more detail, go on over to Jessie Marie Does Stuff. And she explains WIPGO in detail in one of her Flosstubes, and she also just has an amazing Flosstube channel. Anyways, she works on tons of beautiful projects. So let's get started on my WIPGO challenges. My first WIPGO challenge was to work on, it just says golf, and it's a golf pattern that I'm doing for my husband. I started this quite a while ago when I first got back into cross stitch. So I really didn't know much about what I was getting myself into. And this is what I got. Dreams of the Greens by Artecy, full coverage. I ordered it off, I think, 1-2-3 Stitch, either that or everything cross stitch. But I remember being able to hit the kitted up button. So they sent me the called for fabric and the called for floss. And I worked on it a little bit, and I'll show you, because out of all the pages, showing you this little bit isn't going to make a difference. I was working on a paper chart, highlighting it as I went. Really didn't know what I was doing, because when I cross-stitched way back when I was younger, that's what you did. You had your highlighter in your chart. And I really was not just drawn to working on it. So I pulled it out for WIPGO, and I looked at it, and I was just not excited. And here is where I was at on it. So I think this might be 16, maybe 18 count easy grid and paper chart. So I knew immediately that I wanted to restart it on a smaller fabric because I'm now using either 25 or 28 count on my full coverage patterns. So this is just, I just didn't enjoy how it looked. So I pulled out some 25 count fabric because if you followed me before, you know I was going to start a supersized Heaven and Earth pattern on 25 count easy grid. Decided I didn't like it, so I rebought 28 count easy grid, which means I have a ton of that 25 count easy grid fabric left. So I just cut into that. And then I was looking at the pattern and I noticed the Artecy. And then I remembered on some of my Facebook groups that Artecy actually has its own site. So I went on Artecy and I found this pattern again in a PDF. So I rebought it. So now I have 25 count fabric and I can use Pattern Keeper. And I started working on it. And my goal was 5 days. And I'm not going to show you a before because this is my before. And this is where I am at now. Look at how pretty that is. You can see the trees forming. If you look really, really closely down here, the flowers are starting. And I think much more I'll start getting into the greens, but that is just so beautiful. I did not want to put this down. Working on this for 5 days was no problem at all. The hard part was putting it away when I was done. So I am at, I believe, over 5,000 stitches on this right now. And I'm so excited how it's coming out. Let me see if the beauty of Pattern Keeper, where I'm at on this. And after working on a supersize, it was really nice to work on this and have things pop up so much quicker and know that the end date is a lot faster. So I'm at 5,428 stitches and 9% complete. So excited. So again, look at how pretty that is. In my pocketing method, I have found that works for me is I like 3 needle minders, and the stuff I'm pocketing kind of goes to the left. The stuff I'm working on as I'm done goes down. And then when I get to the spot that I want, I will move them up out of the way and wrap them on the top needle minder, and I'll start from the bottom pocked and work my way up. And then when I'm finished with the pocked threads, I'll go on and start working in new threads. I also have found that I love doing 20 by 20 blocks. I found that the 10 by 10 were just too small and I was just changing threads way too often. And I tried cross country and I did not like that at all. So the 20 by 20 blocks is my sweet spot. And if you look at this and you see that I didn't start all the way over to the edge, it's not that I did something wrong. That's how the pattern is. The pattern actually starts 1 stitch over. So that was one of my January WIPGO goals, was 5 hours. And as a restart, I'm really, really loving this. And this will probably, I don't think I ever want to touch this big easy grid fabric again. So this will probably not be used for anything else and will probably just be tossed. Or if I go to a quilt retreat, maybe I'll put it on the free table because I'm sure there's some people out there who like the 16 and 18 count easy grid. My next January WIPGO goal was Bellatrix. This was my birthday start last year. I was doing this in conjunction with Kansas City girl and a Colorado World, Julie. She did it as a birthday start as well. So this is Bellatrix. And my goal on her was 5 hours as well. And if I have any before pictures, you know, I'll pop them up here for the befores. This is where I got to on her. And this is just, I think it's 18 count fabric that I dyed myself. And I'm still working on the dress. So I'm down. Let me get this. There we go. I'm working on the dress down here. I'm actually almost done. You can see I'm kind of up hitting the leg, so there's just a little bit more down here. And I think it's on my WIPGO board. Again, if it does, I'm going to start working on the bottom, but that's all the Krynic and beading down here. So that'll be what I work on next. And this is all beading up through there, but look at how pretty that's coming out. I just love the colors on it. And I think there's a hashtag on Instagram. Well, I know there's a hashtag on Instagram, but I think it's Bellatrix birthday Sal. I'll put it down below. I'll look up what the hashtag is, but I hadn't worked on this in a while, so I forgot about what it was being called. And I may even have it written down, but again, it'll be a lot of crinkling for me to find it, but I'll put it right there. Again, Bellatrix. Very excited about that. The good thing about WIPGO is you get to touch all these things you love, but you forget to pull out. And I actually went in and fixed my WIPGO board. I had originally started with putting things on that I really didn't want to work on, but if it got popped up for WIPGO, then I would work on it, and I didn't want to do that, so I changed it, and I made sure that everything on my WIPGO board was something I wanted to work on, and it just gave me some dedicated time to work on it, versus I have like my magic study that I like to work on quite a bit. So it gives me a chance to just set it down and say, okay, I'm going to work on this for a few hours and get back in love with some of these projects. So the next WIPGO goal, because again, I hadn't showed any of the January ones in January. So now we're into my February WIPGO. And that was another full coverage that I haven't touched in quite a while. And so far, aside from the 5 days on Dreaming of the Greens, all my others were 5 hours. So this was another Heaven and Earth Designs, and this was Fairy Tales, artwork by Lisa Parker. So and on this one, it was my first Heaven and Earth design that I had started, and I was playing around with the pocket method and what worked for me. So I started out with the 10 by 10 blocks, and then I went into cross country, and then it got put away because I really was not enjoying the cross country. Then I discovered that I liked the 20 by 20 blocks, but this was just, as you can see, it was cross country and 10 by 10. So I need to kind of get it back into a spot where I can comfortably get into my 20 by 20 blocks. And this is where I am at on this. So again, this got 5 hours, not 5 days. So not as much progress on this as on my golf one, but this is where I'm at. So there's not, when you look at the pattern, a lot to it. So it's a little teeny fairy and then the owl, but it's going to be mostly tree. So this is going to probably be about 75% background stitching. But I started to catch up on all of my cross country. I'm getting it all filled in again. And then I'll start working my way into my 20 by 20 blocks. On this, I am at 2,646 stitches, and I'm at 0.66% complete. So this will have 400,400 stitches. And the golf one will only have 59,700 stitches. So nowhere near as many stitches on the golf one. So there is that. And this is on 25 count easy grid. I don't remember where I got the needle minder from though, sorry. Then my last WIPGO goal was to work on my Quaker for 5 hours. And this was the Quaker on the silk gap. And that was, and I had to go to an iPad because, you know, one works on Apple, one works on Android. Can't have everything out working on one device. That would make things way too easy. So the name of this one is Quakers Pride. And if you've never used the Silk app, unlike Pattern Keeper where you buy something and then you download it into Pattern Keeper, the Silk app, you actually buy the pattern on the app and then it's automatically in there for you. So you can't buy just anything and put it in this. It's almost like it's a store that works its way into the app. So it's a little bit different. You have to get used to it. It kind of has the same, you can mark off your stitches, but the setup's not exactly the same. But if you can use one, you can use the other. You just need two completely separate devices for it. Unless you can get the Silk app on an Android, I'm not quite sure. I just know you can't get Pattern Keeper on an Apple device. So that's Quakers Pride. And, oh, I forgot to take it out of the hoop. There we go. And I don't know if I have a before picture because it's been a while since I've worked on this. But basically, I worked on the gray down here. Now this calls for black, white, gray, and red, but I changed my red to be purple because, you know, hello, purple. So this is where I'm at, and it did take 5 hours to get this motif done. So I think I had just like a little teeny bit up here, so I did all the rest of it. And then this will get put away until it gets called again. I think it might be on my WIPGO board one more time. I'm not quite sure. But I do have a ways to go because I'm only up here in this little teeny corner. So with that, all my WIPGO goals have been met. And now I can just get back to stitching what I want when I want for the rest of the month until the 27th when the new goals are released. And I don't know if I'll start on the 27th or if I'll wait until March because technically she's drawing them early, but it is the March draw. One of the other things I worked on this month is I have a few friends and I are doing the Linens and Threads 2020 stitch along, which is now Fox and Rabbit, but I think the 2020 is still on the Linens and Threads site, and then you have to go to Fox and Rabbit if you want to do the 2022. So I did work on the 2021 all last year, but the 2020 was my favorite, you know, the Quaker look to it. So we decided to do it this year, and we're going to do it as it was originally done. So we're going to do January and January and February and February. And I have February done. And this is stitched on Be Stitch Me Stone Hedge 20 count Ada. So here's my fabric. And I am using 52 for DMC. It's a variegated. I don't know if you can tell much by this strand, but these are long variegations. So I have found that I have to do color control with this. So I'm not just cutting and stitching. I am cutting lengths, seeing where the colors are, and being really strategic about how I stitch with this. And we are at February. So this is what it will look like when it's done. Here's the whole year. And we're right in this area right now. I just love this fabric from Be Stitch Me. There you go. And I'm sorry about the not ironing, but I don't want to iron my fabric over and over and over again and then have it be wrecked by the time I'm done with it. So this is what it looks like. But this is what I worked on. And for this flower, I made sure when I cut my lengths of floss, I made it long enough that I knew I could work kind of all the way up it. So I only used 2 strands, and I used 1 strand on one half and 1 strand on the other to make it symmetrical. So I think I did this, this, and this. Again, I'll look for a before picture. But I just love how this is coming out. I was so excited all last year to start this year. So pretty. So again, that is a free stitch along, and it's on the Linens and Threads site, and this is the 2021. We are showing them on Instagram. If you're working on this one, I would love to see. You can either tag me, it's DM's Crafty Vortex over on Instagram as well, or put in hashtag throwback to LNT Sal 2020, I think. Again, I'll put the actual hashtag below, because when the camera's rolling, you never remember things like that. Another thing I have been working on, my friend Pam from Stitching in the Land of Good Enough opened a cross stitch store, and she named it Stitch New England, and I offered to cross stitch some stuff for her. One of the things she wanted was this chart right here by Ursula Michel. Wait a minute, if I put my glasses on, maybe I can see it better. I've lost my glasses. Ursula Michael. There we go. One of the changes we made, though, is because her shop is called Stitch New England, is we changed it up here to be Stitch. And when I say we, I mean my friend Anna, who has a Facebook group, Halloween Cross Stitch Challenge. Again, I'll put it back down here. I really should take notes here, all, so that when I'm talking, I know what I'm talking about. But you don't really know what you're going to say until you're on here, and then you're like, I forgot what that is. So this is what I'm doing for Pam. Now, I took a before picture because I know I'm not going to be able to find my before. I didn't even think about it. The hoop was on it, so it's a really horrible before picture. But this is where we are at now on it. So again, you'll notice that instead of having Family Farm and that green stuff, we have Stitch. So here we go, Stitch New England. And I spent all day at Stitchy Group today filling in the England with white. I almost forgot and left it blank and was looking at it trying to figure out what was off, and then I realized, oh, I actually have to get that white thread in there. So this was an entire day stitching on white. So I'm really excited to stitch tonight on something other than white. So this is where I'm at on that. This has a lot of back stitching to it, so I am definitely not the backstitching queen, but I am trying. So here we are. Another thing I've been trying to work, and you can see that it's so hard to, you're going to just see the corner of my work. That's no big deal. I have been watching a Flosstube Bougie Stitcher. Was it Boogie Stitcher? I'm going to have her link below, Ashley. I love watching her floss too. She does a lot of full color, a lot of full coverage, and a lot of HAEDs and a lot of other sites. One of the things she does is stamped cross stitch. The first few times I watched her, I'm like, oh yeah, but I like my counted cross stitch. But the more you watch, the more it looks exciting, the more you think that would come in handy, because sometimes you just want to do your X's and you don't want to have to worry about a chart and looking at a chart. So I just kept getting more and more intrigued by watching her stamped cross stitches. Her HAEDs and stuff are gorgeous as well. Man, if you saw the amount of projects she has, watch her whip parade, but I warn you, it's dangerous. My heaven and earth wish list doubled from watching her. We have way too similar taste in cross stitch, but I was really getting intrigued with her stamped cross stitch. And then I was on Amazon and it popped up, hey, you might be interested in this. And there was a stamped pattern on it. So I was just like, what the heck? I'm gonna get it. And it came in handy because my husband likes me to go with him sometimes when he does things like he likes to golf indoors in the winter, because I live in Maine in the United States and there's snow on the ground. So we have a place that does a golf simulation, and I went with him, and it's kind of a little bit dark there, and I'm in this little chair because there's more people golfing over there, and then there's a bar. So having the stamped stitch was really nice. That's all I needed with me. Everything was right on it. And I started working on that, and that was just a lot of fun in a completely different way. First, I didn't need my magnification because Stamped cross stitch is usually either 11 or 14 count because it needs to be big enough for them to stamp the design on it. And I don't know if I have the design. Should have been right here. Oh, all right. So it's teeny, 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 tiny. It's just a butterfly. And I gotta try and show you this without showing you the pattern. So it's just a butterfly. But it looked really cute. And I said it was just on an Amazon link, so I don't really have a site that I got it from. But maybe if you type in butterfly stamped cross stitch. And this is how it comes. So these aren't the actual colors that the floss will be. And then the chart is right here on it. So you know that if you're stitching this area, it's that color right there. So this is what I got done. And just like everything else, hanging threads. And I got all this stitching in, and Ashley shows the back because she says it's easier to see what you did. So I'm going to copy her, and here's the back so you can see the actual area that I cross stitched. And it was just a fun, relaxing stitch. I think this is, no, this is 11 count. So I am also stitching with 3 strands, which has taken a little bit of getting used to because I'm used to stitching with 1 strand on 28 count. But you can do a loop start with 3 strands. Again, if you go over to Ashley's site, Boogie, B-O-O-G-I-E Stitcher, again, I have it, I'm going to have it linked below. She does have a tutorial on how to do a loop start with 3 strands, which is really cool. So there is that. And it's just fun to change it up once in a while. Now, the last thing I've been working on is my baby, my supersized Max Color Magic Study from Heaven and Earth Designs. And look at the project bag. It is super heavy too because Max Color was 234 colors. So what I did is, and I'm a bobbinator, I didn't want to make one of my bags and figure out all the math to be able to fit that many bobbins in it. So this is my thread storage. It is double-sided with all my bobbins in it. And it's heavy. And I am at, on this, how do I keep losing my glasses in such a small spot? 8,684 stitches, which puts me at 1.1% complete. This is huge, y'all. And I'm not taking it out of the hoop, but you can see the entire thing. This is where I am at. Isn't that pretty? That is so gorgeous. My butterfly, I love the butterfly. And the interesting thing is, when this first came out on Heaven and Earth, it came out as a limited edition. The colors were different because Rose Khan, who is the designer of this, she designs puzzles. So she made this, and it was more moody and darker in colors, and sent it to the puzzle company. And that's the one that Heaven and Earth originally released, limited edition, and I was devastated that I couldn't get my hands on it. However, the puzzle company had wanted her to brighten it up. And so when she brightened it up, and she had the rainbow version, and then Heaven and Earth recently released the rainbow version, and that's how we were able to get our hands on it, the people who didn't get the limited edition one. And the second she released it, I assume, because I think it's a Michelle or something who always does the emails back, I could have the name wrong. But as soon as it was released, I immediately emailed them and paid the extra money for a supersized Max Color. Because I had been so excited to do this, I wanted just to go big on this. And I hadn't realized until just recently, again, Ashley, over at Bougie Stitch. I have got to learn how to pronounce that, so I'm saying it right. I'm going to have to go watch her one more time and hear her say her channel name. But she worked on this last weekend, and I thought she did a top right start for two reasons. One, her image shows in reverse, so it kind of looks like it's top right. And second, I didn't see the butterfly, so I thought she started in a different corner than me. Then I pulled up both versions, the dark version and the rainbow version, and I noticed on the darker version, the butterfly, which is, again, gorgeous, doesn't exist on the darker version. And then I started looking at the two, and over on another side, there's a whole other section that's different. So when she brightened it up, she had also threw in some more elements that I never even realized that were there. So just so you know, yeah, so they're not exactly alike. I thought it was just more colors, but there's actually other elements. So you will not see the butterfly on the people who are doing the original limited edition version. So this is where I'm at. I'm excited to get back to this tonight because I have put it away for far too long getting my 4 WIPGO goals done. And this needs a little bit more love. So that is what I'll be working on. I've been working on it so much, up to 8,000 stitches and only at 1% done, really lets you know how long this is going to take. But that is where I'm at on that. So that is all the cross stitch I've done. As I've said, my wish list has gotten longer. I have a Heaven and Earth that I'm going to be starting in May with my friend Honor. So I picked out a bunch of Miles' Pinkley patterns, and then I let her narrow it down to one. And of those, she'll pick which one in April that we're going to do. Both of them have dragons in it. I'll show you the two pictures that we choose in between. I had to make a bag for us because I like to have my project bags match. So this is the bag I made. I am so excited at how it came out. This fabric, oh, here's the front. This was very hard fabric to get my hands on. In the entire state of Maine, this was sold out. So I'm assuming we have an Etsy seller in the state of Maine who's bought all the Joann fabrics, because you can get this on Etsy, but you can't get this in Joann Fabrics. And I was devastated because I made a cut-in error on the first bag I attempted. So I gave that bag away, but I really wanted this for me. So I have my friend Sue, who lives in Massachusetts, and they have plenty of this fabric in Massachusetts. So she went to a Joann Fabric and got me more. So I got to make my bag. And here it is. I needed it to be a little bit bigger because Heaven and Earth regulars typically have about 90 colors. And to make this at the size I make it, it fits exactly 91 bobbins. And then, so here's my bag. And I know I've been saying over and over again when people ask me if I sell these bags and I don't sell them, that I would get out a tutorial. The problem with getting out the tutorial is this bag takes about 7 to 8 hours to make. So I need somebody willing to spend an entire day with me to film all the steps. Now, the tutorial won't be 8 hours, but I have to do all the steps. My friend Honor today has agreed that she's going to come spend a stitchy day with me, and she is going to help me film this tutorial so I can get a bag made and get it out all to you as promised. So we just need to look at her work schedule, my work schedule, because neither of us work Monday to Friday jobs, and we got to figure out a day off that we have together. But I think maybe sometime in March or April we'll be able to hook up and get a tutorial made so that I'll release that for everybody. But I'm really excited. I have my bag made. I'm going to make her one. I do have this fabric in red as well. And then we'll start that in May. So the goal is for my birthday in April, we're going to kit it up. And for her birthday in May, we're going to start it. So that's that bag. And I think that is actually everything I have to show for you for today. And I will come back again, hopefully next month, and film another floss tube. And maybe before that or a little after that, we will get a tutorial out on how to make that bag. And again, I appreciate all the subscribers that I have. Getting me up to 995 was really exciting. So I'm just hoping for those extra 5 to get to that 1,000 mark. I've heard that Once you're at 1,000, it opens up just other things you can do with Flosstube. I know one of the things it opens up is it allows you to monetize your channel. I will not be monetizing my channel. So if you see any commercials at all on my channel, that is something that YouTube is doing, because sometimes YouTube will put commercials on our site even if we don't want them there so that they can make money. So just know if you see any commercials, it's not the ones that I've put there, it's just YouTube trying to make some money off my channel. So other than that, I'm just gonna start rambling, and none of us have time for that. So I'm gonna get this edited and get this up, and until next time, happy crafting.